Hello, and welcome back to VGR. Now, the Call of Duty Modern Warfare beta is coming up this weekend. This is the first of two planned weekends that fans are going to get to experience the game ahead of release. Unless, of course, Activision and Infinity Ward decide to do any additional betas ahead of release, they certainly will have time, and that's not unheard of for companies to do that. I mean, I think DICE did that for Battlefield 5 last year. Ended up doing at least one sort of bonus beta, although to be fair, I think their game was in need of it.
They definitely
at the time.
needed it, yeah.
But this will be the first open beta opportunity that people have gotten. We've had the alpha already, which was only available on PS4 and only made the gunfight mode available. This is going to be... Oh, you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it was a resounding success. I mean, it was only an alpha and only gunfighter, but it got a lot of positive press from fans and critics alike.
Absolutely. And this is going to give fans a lot more to play around with. We don't know the exact scope because neither Activision nor Infinity Ward have come out and said this is exactly what's going to be available. But they have released a trailer which kind of showcases some of the stuff, and it definitely looks like we're going to be dealing with things on a larger scope and scale than what was available in Gunfight. So the first weekend which is coming up is this weekend, and as much as they're referring to it as weekends, it's actually a bit longer than a weekend. So the first one's starting on the 12th, and it's extending all the way through to the 16th. So the infamous 5-day weekend. Initially, it's going to be... I should say as well, the first weekend is only available on the PS4. So this weekend's PS4, and then the weekend after this will be available on all platforms, and they'll actually have crossplay enabled as well. So initially, it's going to be an early access period on the 12th and the 13th. So if you want to play on those days, you need to have pre-ordered the game.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, but at that point, on the 14th, the period switches over to an open beta, and at that point, anyone can try it from the 14th through the 16th. And that'll be the first weekend on PS4. The weekend 2 is the 19th to the 22nd or 3rd. Either way, the 19th and the 20th will be an early access period, just like the first weekend, except for PS4, because they will have already had their early access period. So the second weekend is completely open beta for PS4. And during that time, they will have crossplay enabled for PC, PS4, and Xbox One. So theoretically, people can play with anybody on any console.
And Activision is pulling no punches and rolling out these betas. I mean, just boom,
they
one after the other.
really aren't, which is hopefully a good sign for the quality of the multiplayer on release. You know, this suggests that they're pretty confident with how things are going to go.
Well, and not only, I think, are they trying to give people a nice, solid chunk and taste of what this gameplay is going to be like, because it's so vastly different, supposedly, from other Call of Duties, from previous Call of Duties, but hopefully this gives us and gives Activision a good idea for what the servers are going to look like on day one, because as we know, multiplayer games can often suffer from some pretty egregious issues having to do with server capacity. So hopefully this gives an idea of how better to prepare.
Certainly. And now there's actually some other things coming up for Modern Warfare in the next few weeks, in addition to the beta weekends. First is we are going to get some more details on what exactly crossplay looks like in Modern Warfare on the 16th. So expect Infinity Ward to release a lot of crossplay details specifically on the 16th of September, just before the start of the second beta weekend, where crossplay will be enabled. And then after that, as I said before, there's no other confirmed betas between the end of the second beta weekend and launch. They will have they'll have over a full month between that, so it's certainly possible that they might, especially if they want to do any sort of rogue marketing for it. But there's no confirmation as of yet. What we do have confirmation of, though, are two premieres which are coming up in the last week of September and the second week of October. So first of those is a campaign premiere. So
Ooh.
since the first trailer, we actually haven't seen that much of campaign. They've talked about it quite a lot, but they've not shown much publicly. So
press has seen it, and we've heard
exactly.
secondhand about it. But like you said, publicly, they've stayed pretty quiet. So it's exciting news.
Yeah, certainly. Especially because this sounds like it's going to be very different to any previous Call of Duty campaign.
Also a welcome change.
Yeah. We don't know exactly what the premiere event is going to be. Presumably it's going to include at least a trailer launch, probably the release of some accompanying information from the studios, and maybe they'll release some longer form gameplay content, but I would expect a trailer and not necessarily expect anything else, and just be pleasantly surprised if there's anything more. No firm dates yet as to when these premieres are coming. The first one is simply end of September, but it is listed after the second beta weekend, which ends on the 23rd. So expect it somewhere in that final week of September.
That makes sense.
And the second premiere is a premiere of the Special Ops multiplayer mode, which, again, they haven't said a huge amount about. They've kind of hinted at. And it's unknown if we're going to see any of that in the beta weekend. Probably not. I would imagine the beta weekend's going to focus more on kind of the individual custom game modes and things like that. And then the Special Ops is going to be a much larger thing. So we're going to be getting another premiere for that, which I think in that case I'd be less surprised to see gameplay footage, given that it is a multiplayer mode of sorts. We think.
Presumably.
Yes.
About 5 question marks.
No firm date, but they have said it will be sometime in the week starting October 7th. So second week of October, and that puts it about 2 to 3 weeks before launch. So plenty of time for people to kind of find out more about what exactly these new modes actually are.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like Activision hasn't really made a heavy push to promote and actively give the public very big slices of gameplay and tastes of what the game is actually going to be, at least in a really long time. Because I feel like for the last several years, I honestly can't think of the last time Call of Duty really innovated. The jump from I think Call of Duty 3 to Call of Duty Modern Warfare was about the biggest leap in innovation, and I wouldn't call changing the setting to future and space that big of a gameplay innovation.
You mean you don't think that turning the game into a battle royale game was an innovation?
Matt, I would go so far as to say, I know this is quite a hot take, that might be a step in the wrong direction. But I think that this goes to show that they're confident in the changes that they're making. They're willing to take risks, and this is obviously a big step for Activision. I mean, they're a publicly owned company. They're pretty well renowned for wanting to monetize their games to the nth degree, and so putting this much faith in a product, allowing their biggest IP to shift and change so much, of course they're going to want to show it off and show people, hey, this is a game worth playing. Yes. Personally, I think this is a great way to roll out content and a really smart move. Yeah,
hopefully so. Hopefully fans do enjoy the beta weekends and it all kind of goes well. And hopefully we get to see some decent content during those 2 upcoming premieres. But between now and then, it looks like that's going to be their main feature. That was all included on a road to launch schedule. So it's unknown if they're planning to do anything else besides that. They probably will release some additional information kind of in between things. But this looks to be their big event schedule. So I think that about does it for that particular topic for this week. Stay tuned and do check the channel for other videos that we'll be releasing throughout the week. Check the weekly recap and so on and so forth. And we will see you next time.